But what are we talking about today, Susan?
Well, we are talking about what everybody's talking about, which is AI and how it's affecting or impacting pretty much all aspects of our lives. But in this case, how it's impacting advisors' ability to get found on any of the search engines, since people are now going to Chat and Claude and Perplexity to find everything. And
Yep.
so you've been focused on SEO. We want to help you focus on how to be found on those platforms.
Yes, and let us know, have you ever heard of AEO before, which is Answer Engine Optimization? AEO really encompasses everything. So it's Google, it's, X's, what do they call it? Grok? I can never know if I'm saying it right. It's
Over my head.
It's
Something already.
ChatGPT, it's Perplexity. It's also going to Siri or Alexa and asking a question, getting an answer. So AEO is Answer Engine Optimization. So have you ever heard that term before? We would love to know. And also, where do you go to search today? Do you typically still go to Google? Are you going to ChatGPT? What tools? And what about you, Susan? You're a big ChatGPT fan.
I've swung all, I would say I've been in the ChatGPT camp for several months. I still like Claude a lot. I used to be Perplexity. I like Gemini, but I'm pretty squarely in Chat. And mainly because I do feel like it's actually getting to know me. So the voice is better. But yeah, like if I'm finding restaurants, I go to Chat. I don't go to Google anymore.
Okay, okay. I love Instagram for anything like restaurants or hotels, actually, because it's so visual. I could see it.
That's
But
good.
I'm with you. I love ChatGPT. One of the things that's really interesting about ChatGPT too is they've trained it to be so emotionally intelligent to like say,
Yeah.
that's a really good question, or that's a
Yeah.
great idea. So yeah, buys into that. So what is everybody saying? TikTok for restaurants, Claire. That's a good one. My sisters use that all the time. Heavy ChatGPT user, said Leanne. Also use Gemini. Um,
There's Grok. Ken
Grok, there it
Grace
is again.
users.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard it's growing in market share, like about to take over. Someone said this. I don't know if it's true. I haven't validated, but about to take over ChatGPT for usage. So
All
have
right.
to.
I'm going to admit ignorance. I don't know Grok. Is it just a competitor to Chat and
It
Claude?
it was launched by X, formerly Twitter.
Yes. And now is it separate from
Their like
X?
AI tool. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yep. Yep.
I will have
Okay,
to check that out.
Copilot. Copilot's popular with a lot of users because it's just built into your PC.
Yep.
Genesis AI. So we got a lot of different AI users here. Okay. And some people saying familiar with AEO. I love it. You guys are ahead
We're a
of the curve.
sophisticated group. We got to step it up.
Yeah. So one thing we are really, really excited to announce is just for coming here today, all of you are going to be getting this amazing AI guide. Susan and I just took a first look at the final draft before it goes to print. You're all going to get a PDF of it, and it is going to go into very, very specific detail, everything from how to prompt to what to make sure you're doing to be found by AI, like a checklist, different ways to use it to create content best practices. So that's going to be coming out very, very shortly, right, Susan? Everyone's going to get that.
Yes. We will send
So
out
look,
the recording, I think. So that'll be
yes,
in the next couple days.
awesome. And if you're unfamiliar with FMG, we are an award-winning all-in-one marketing suite. We offer everything from websites to managing your social media to giving you the content to share to even now through my rep chat, we have a compliant texting platform. So everything you need to market your business effectively. And here's just a few of the awards that we have won. If you're looking for a marketing provider to partner with, we would love to talk with you after today's session. So here's a prompt. I've shared this before, but I just want to put this up here. And we'd love for all of you to answer this question. Have you ever gotten a lead from ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, Grok, any of the Copilot, any of the ones you've mentioned, as a client came to you and said, oh, I found you on whatever the AI tool is? Because I asked this question on LinkedIn, and here's just some of the answers I got. And this was 6 months ago. And every time I've asked it since then, we've gotten more and more people saying yes. Oh, wow, these are all no's.
We've got no's, not that they know of. The other thing is, getting in the habit of asking how somebody heard of you, which I'm not sure. I'm guessing you guys all ask, but
Yeah, it really just depends. So it's definitely shifting, but one of the things that I loved, I'm just going to fast forward to this one, was in preparation for today's event, we were talking about this and someone wrote, wow, eye-opening. People are asking AI to recommend a financial advisor. I had no idea. So I definitely think this is still it's totally the Wild West and new. And so if you feel like, "Oh, I haven't gotten, a prospect from this," you are not alone. You're definitely in the majority, not the minority at this point.
I'd say they're like, I'd put them in the first mover category for joining this webinar because clearly they
Heck
are
yes.
seeing that this is the frontier that is coming, and you're going to be way ahead of 99% of all advisors by being here and thinking about it ahead of time.
Such a good point. And Samantha Vance just said she had one person that said that that's how they found her, but noticing more traffic coming from those sources. So yes,
Yep.
definitely, again, first mover advantage here for all of you. So we've done webinars going into all of this today, these three things. Today, we're just going to focus on number 3 right here. So if you want ChatGPT or AI to recommend your business when people are searching for an advisor, these are really the 3 things you want to focus on. We have a previous webinars and workshops we've done that go into all 3 at a broad level. Today, we're honing in on this 3rd one. So when we send out the replay, we can send out, if you're interested, the link to the first one that goes into detail on all 3. But today, we're just focusing on how you format your content, which is the 3rd prong in this 3-step approach. So as we're going through this, we also want to mention if you are an FMG customer, you might be saying, well, how do I do this in FMG? We just launched this new feature, which we are so thrilled about, where you can easily add a specific type of formatting to your FAQ pages, which is what we're going to go into detail on today. I'm going to show you in the app as well, so stick around for that. But if you're wondering, how is FMG going to help me do this? We are going to show you that as well. So this is brand new, just launched it. We are so excited about it, and we will show you that as well. So let's first talk though about, again, what AEO is and why structured pages like this matter. So you may have seen this chart. We've shared it before. SEO, search engine optimization, was all about you go to a website, it gives you a list of websites, and then you have to go through and figure out which one is going to give you the answer you think is the best answer, right? AEO is all about giving you one answer to your question, or might give you a few choices, but it's much more limited, and it's actually the answer itself, not a list of websites. So it's a very, very different approach to getting the answer. And that is why we think it is just taking over, because as humans, we don't want to sift through a bunch of websites.
No.
We just get the answer.
I was going to say, like reading this, you're like, why would I want the SEO side?
Exactly, exactly. So what types of questions, when we think about formatting, right? So again, when we think about that 3-pronged approach, the 3rd prong is how you format your content. And one of the things that is really, really important is having lots of questions in your content and then giving a very specific answer. Now, the type of question that you ask is really important because you want to be asking the questions that prospects would be asking. So again, this is going to be an FAQ page or just a series of questions on you can really put these on any page of your website, but you want to format it as question, answer. And that is going to help surface your site and your content with these AI tools. So let's look at a couple examples here. So I actually
even the headlines within the site, can be framed instead of just a fact, it can be a question.
Exactly. Yeah. So instead of our investment approach,
Exactly.
It could say, the question could be, how do you invest your client's money? Right. So it's switching it to a question. So yes. I just went and asked ChatGPT a couple questions to give you an idea of the different, and you can do this yourself, right? So you can go to whatever your AI tool of choice is and think about who your target audience is. And you can say that to the AI tool and then ask it to give you the types of questions that they should be asking. That's a great starting off point. Obviously, your clients and prospects and you know what kinds of questions they have, but it's a great way just to, get the engine running. And instead of trying to come up with a list yourself, use AI to help you. So I'm getting ready to retire in a few years. Want to find a financial advisor to work with me in Charlotte, North Carolina, who can help me come up with a good plan and budget. Who should I work with and what questions should I ask? So in response, this was a list. that was given to me. And what I love about it is it not only gave me the list, but it also gave me the source, of course. We've seen that with these AI tools more and more. So you can go and look at this Wall Street Journal article. What are they recommending clients ask an advisor? All of these are websites or blogs where these sources are saying to clients, here's what you should ask. What do you think about some of these questions, Susan?
Yeah, I mean, a bunch of them are real, I think, fall into sort of that general FAQ section that we've talked about. And this kind of ties back to when people have asked, like, should I share my pricing in a, should it be part of the nav? Should it be its own section? I think these are kind of the questions that all are just really general how to work with you and somewhat educating the consumer on, what is a fiduciary versus a, somebody who's, not operating under the SEC. So I think these
Right.
are great questions for that section. I think there's also, it's the way you wrote the prompt, it was what questions should I ask that advisor? Another thing that probably, I'm guessing, I think we're going to talk about it, is what questions are on the mind of your prospects in terms of pain points, challenges, goals. And that's, I think, a separate set of questions.
100%. So this is more questions that somebody would want to ask you if they were thinking about hiring you.
Like,
So
what's
let's
it
just
like to work with you kind of thing?
exactly. So here's another, what question should you ask an advisor before hiring them? I'm not going to go into all of them, but um, the AI tool that I asked broke it down into background and credentials. So, how long have you been an advisor? Have you ever been disciplined? Do you specialize in working with? And
Let's hope
here
not.
would be clients like me, right? So instead of writing on this one, do you specialize in working with clients like me? You would write, do you specialize in working with physicians, with widowed women, with, you know, tech employees who get RSUs, whatever it is, fill in the blank. And so notice that instead of putting it on your website, like we specialize with working with tech executives that get RSUs, you would say, do you specialize? So you're turning the phrase into a question. There's also questions about what services you offer. So again, this can be a section of your website just going into specific services. Fees, so many people still, and I don't know what your take is on it, Susan. So many people say, like, I do not want to list my fees on, my website. But if you look at what consumers want to know, and you look at, sometimes even what they're searching or asking for, it is constantly going, it comes up all of the time. What's your take on whether or not you should include it?
I think you should include it. And I think the advisors I've talked to, when you say you can put it in an FAQ section, just as one of many questions, suddenly there's like this, okay, that makes sense. It's calling it out in its own section or putting in the nav that I think makes people uncomfortable. But I think what I've seen is that people are actually generally excited to put it in an FAQ, and like it's sort of an aha moment, like, oh my God, I
Yeah.
should have an FAQ and I can put it there.
Right, exactly. And we're going to show you, by the way, what this looks like on a website in just a minute, so that makes more sense. But so I didn't pull all of these, but even the client experience, a lot of people forget that, so many people, if they've never worked with an advisor before or they had a bad experience, this is just as important, if not more important, than the how do you invest my money? How, what's my financial planning process going to look like? They want to know, how often are we going to meet? How often are you going to communicate with me? How will that communication happen? What are you going to do if circumstances change? Do I get charged more or less, whatever it is? So these can all be really tricky to put in website copy, but they work so well in an FAQ section.
Exactly.
So let's just talk about, let's just show you where this would actually be if you go on your website with FMG. So in your, and then I'll show you examples of how it looks like out there in the wild. So you would come to the FMG content library and you go to the website section here and you can choose any page that you want. I'm just going to select home. But again, we're just making it easy to format this in here's the question, here's the answer. But beyond the formatting, we've added to the back end something called schema markup. I don't want to get too technical for all of you, but basically it just is a way of communicating to the AI tools to say, hey, this is the question and here's the answer. And that helps your page be found easier by these AI tools. So it's not just the way it looks on the page, it's how we're communicating with the search engines and the AI tools that we've added in. So you're going to just click this add section box, and then down here under widgets, there's all these different widgets that you can add. If you've never seen this before, you can add all kinds of things, articles, calls to action. You're just going to click FAQ with schema markup. So that schema markup.
So excited about this.
Back end. Yes, and you can see once you add it, you're just going to be typing in what is the question and then how you answer it. And then how it actually looks on the page can really vary. So I've got a few pulled up here of websites. So here's one from Investment Consulting Group, right? So they've broken it down into general financial planning, retirement planning. And so you can see some of these questions are things somebody would go to AI or a search tool and actually ask, and they have the answer right here. If you wanted to be found for a very specific question, like let's say again work with executives in Minneapolis who all tend to work for certain kinds of companies, and that you help them with succession planning and tax planning. You could ask a very specific question that those types of folks always ask, and then turn just that one question into its own blog post. So for really specific questions that you want to be found for, those we would recommend being its own standalone blog post. But for an FAQ page where you really want to just give information about working with you, your process, your fees, that makes sense to do it on an FAQ page. And having that schema markup and the ability to add the widget is really, really imperative. So you can see again here on this one, they've broken it into all those different sections.
Yeah, I definitely like grouping it. We all know we kind of zone out if it's too long of a list of bullets.
Yes, exactly. Here's another one. They've just got a list here of different, questions and then their answers are. And then I just want to pull up, thought I had it linked here. Oh yeah, here we go. This one you might have seen before. These are called accordions. This is another way you can do it where you click on one and then it pops down and shows it this way. So there's different ways that you can set them up. The idea though is with all of these are just FAQ pages. Again, the FAQ page is with the schema markup on the back end is making it easy for the AI tool to understand what your page is about and to source you when somebody is looking for a financial planner that offers the specific service that you offer. So Susan, I see a lot of stuff coming in the chat here. Let me stop sharing there.
Answering one of them.
Okay.
We got what is schema markup again? Definition? I'm going to take like a layman's term, which is not the definition. So I'm probably not answering the question directly, but it basically translates your words in English into language that the AI engines read. So as if we didn't have schema markup, you're just writing your question and your answer, but it's not in a format or a language that AI, can identify and quickly, intake and ingest and give output. So I think it's just the language that is used, the programming language that's used to create that sort of translation.
Yes, you got it. You got it right.
Yay!
If you were to look at the back end of any page, right, there's a code that you see. And so what schema markup does is it would say, like on the back end, you would see a little word and it would say question. Do you offer investment management? And then it would say answer, and then what the answer is. So it's telling in the code itself, it's saying, this is the question and here's what the answer is. So it's just really marking up the page, again, in layman's terms, to make it easier for anybody crawling your site, whether it's Google, Gemini, ChatGPT, to know this is the question, this is the answer, which because we're in this AEO, this answer engine optimization world, it's crucially important. And so that's why we're so excited about launching this with these new FMG FAQ pages.
I have two questions that I think are worth answering. One was, if you do not have an FMG website, can you use these tools? And the
Okay.
answer is no, these tools are embedded within the FMG website platform. However, we have outlined essentially the same approach in our AI guide. So you could use our guide and apply them, apply the sort of the approach to a website that is not with FMG. And then there's a question of whether, if you have the Do It For Me program, if your concierge will help do this for you. And the answer is absolutely yes.
Yes, 100%. And if you are working, I mean, I do think that's one of the most amazing benefits about working with FMG is we're constantly staying up to date on not only the technology advances, what's happening with AI, marketing, but also on the financial side, the rules and regulations of what you can and can't do. And we combine those two things so that you're working with a web developer, a marketing technology provider that is going to apply the best practices, but also make sure you're compliant. So those two things are always in the front of our mind. We do not ever release any updates that go against, SEC compliance, but we do know that different home offices have different ways they interpret rules. So you do obviously need to think about that as well. That's part of the equation. Okay. Let me go back here. So that is, I mean, it's pretty, I don't want to say pretty basic because there's a lot that goes in on the back end, but we're making it really, really easy to add these FAQ sections. If you don't, again, use FMG, you can work with your web developer, whoever manages your website, to ask them to add it. But getting a lot of questions with answers on both an FAQ page and then as part of your headlines throughout your website is really what we're talking about here to help you get found more easily by these AI tools. Do we have more questions we need to answer, Susan?
I think we're good. I was just, Russ was asking if testimonials are allowed. He remembers that no testimonials were allowed and the SEC did something, but he wasn't sure if they addressed testimonials. So I just said, yes, they are, but you have to, consult with your own compliance team in terms of how they support them or not. And then I think Lauren just provided us with an AI summary of the webinar thus far, which is perfect
Oh,
for everybody.
lovely. I love that. Thank you. And I just saw that we did have a question come in on the back end in the Q&A, who asked, should this just be on your website or also on your social media accounts as well? As far as we can tell, with social media, specifically LinkedIn. LinkedIn has amazing SEO compared to any other social platform when somebody is doing a search on Google or they're looking for like a business name, things like that. Having an optimized profile there would be really, really smart where you include a question and then, questions we help clients answer. So you could take that same section from your website and put it on your LinkedIn profile. But you don't need to worry about formatting every post as a question and answer or anything like that. It would really just be on the profile itself.
And then there's a question, I'm trying to type it, but is it better to do FAQs on each page or to group them onto one page? And I'd love to hear what you think, Sam. I think it's a combination that I would probably group, I would have an FAQ page, and then I think I would probably put more of those like how to work with us questions, how we work with you, how you charge, all the questions that we saw in those prompts. And then in the sections within your website where you're talking about estate planning or tax services, I might add a little FAQ there too, within the
Yes,
body of that.
we are even thinking at FMG about updating our own website to follow this best practice. So, we have under who we serve, we have the different types of people we serve. So at the bottom, we might have an FAQ just about how we work with RIAs, right? And then another FAQ about how we work with enterprise customers, and it would live at the bottom of these pages. So within pages, you can have FAQs on the bottom. You can also have FAQs at the bottom of a blog post. So let's say you go really in depth on one particular strategy or topic. At the bottom, you can add FAQs there. So it's definitely not an either or, but a and.
And I think, what's nice is you can have a link at the bottom of, let's say you have, within the estate planning section of your site, you have some FAQs, but you can have at the bottom, like see all FAQs and then keep them on your site longer by, making it easy for them to jump around and learn more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Please tell us if this was helpful to all of you. You had great questions and keep them coming. We have a few more minutes, but we really I'm so proud of us, Susan. We got through it in 27 minutes
Look
and
at us go.
we really wanted to go deep, like I said, on one topic, just give you everything you need to know about that one particular thing. And we want to do more of these. Oh, great. Everyone is saying it was helpful. What is, if you had to help us pick one for next time, let us know if there's one particular topic you'd love us to go all in on next time, that we could really give you prescriptive things to do like this and answer your questions in real time. We want it to be helpful to all of you. But Susan, it looks like a lot of people got some answers today. And again, if you haven't checked out FMG's website or marketing platform in a while, we really encourage you to do it because we just keep adding features. We didn't get
Oh,
to
let's
show you
put
all
our
of our
poll
new
up.
AI features, but
Should we put our poll up?
oh, sorry, I forgot about that. Yes,
Sorry about the
thank you.
poll.
I'm bad.
If you
Yes, if
would
you
like
want to
help,
learn,
yes, you
if you
go.
want to learn how FMG can help you with your marketing or see more of all these different tools, we didn't even touch on them, but we've added new AI writing tools with Muse, a new compliance overwatch feature, a new sidekick feature to help you as you're planning out your marketing and using the platform. We would love to show it to you. So you can just say yes, and we will connect with you. And then we'll be sending all of the resources we mentioned to everyone who joined today as well.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. Excellent. I'm like reading all the questions and comments. Thank you guys. We love the engagement. It makes it so much more fun for us, and we hope you got a lot out of it, and we'll be back soon with more.
Yes, and hopefully we'll see some of you at conferences and live in person soon as conference season's around the corner. So thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody.